Hello everybody, I'm back again with another comic review video, and this time it is one of my favorite comic series. If you want to get into comic books, you should read Chew. If you have already gotten yourself into comic books, why are you not reading Chew? If you are reading Chew, I'm sorry I didn't include you in a previous bracket, but Chew is awesome. And I'm going to make this video basically to describe why Chew is awesome and why I think you should read it. Obviously, comic can't be for everybody. Chew really quickly is like an action comedy kind of story. I think it's about where it is. It's all about food. Just to give you a really brief idea of what the story is about. The series is not complete yet though, but I do own every trade that is accessible to me at this moment, which is trades 1 through 8. And if you're not familiar, a trade is just a collection of the single issues of a comic series. So this first trade here, and by the way, the trades for Chew are typically small, they're really thin, but there's a lot on the pages and there's a lot in the story that it feels like it's a normal size trade, so it's really not that big of a deal. But the upside of that is they're very cheap. Yeah, the first one here is just 10 bucks. Awesome. And I think all the way up to 8, which by that time it should really be increasing in a lot of money, which it's not. It's 13 bucks for the new trades, which is sweet. So this first trade here, generally I'm just going to kind of review the whole up to this point, rest of the series. I'm sure when the series is concluded, I'll make a Chew Part 2 review of it if something, you know, crucial happens that changes my mind, like, never mind, Chew's not worth your time. But I can't imagine that happening because this series is already too awesome and too smart. Unlike some other comics I've got, Chew you do need to read in order. Obviously, it sounds kind of stupid for some people hearing that, but I have some comics that you really don't need to read in any particular order. This is not a bunch of short stories, this is one large story, and everything's kind of going in one direction, and it's just a lot of fun. So, another first thing, the comic, just in case you're, you know, young or something like that, or you don't want to be spoiled by the outside world, there is some, what's the word here? Cursing. There's cursing. Damn it, I can't get my words right. There's cursing in Chew. And aside from that, I'm pretty sure there's sexual content, but none that I'm really remembering. But now that I'm flipping through it, I'm really remembering there is blood. Lots of blood and really gross situations in Chew. So, with that out of the way, I'm going to just progressively hold up trades just because I own them and I feel like doing it. And I'll give you an idea of what the series is. So, this is the main character here. His name is Tony Chew. He is an employee of the FDA, which sounds really boring, but in this crazy world of Chew, they're like agents and they go out and try and take out companies who are selling chicken, which is illegal in their world because, and I say their world just because it's this comic universe, it's still technically, you know, supposed to be, you know, Earth in our normal world. It's just things are crazily altered. So after the bird flu, the FDA outlaws chicken, and what happens because of that is really hilarious. It's a bunch of crazy things that start happening, and these guys are the basically the enforcements trying to stop people from eating chicken. And I'm missing something really crucial about Tony Chew that I should be telling you. Tony has a really weird ability. It's not like a superpower kind of book at all. There are people in the series who have weird abilities. They're all food related, so it's kind of funny. It's like if there was a world where people had superpowers, but they were only relating to food. That is Chew. Tony's ability is when he eats something, he gets a vision in his head that shows him all the past that is existed in that food's life that has brought it up to that point. So really helps him as an investigator trying to solve like murders and things like that when there's something left at the crime scene that he can eat. And that's where some of the gross parts come in, where he's got to eat some really gross stuff, say like a finger found in a Burger Mart's sandwich or something like that, and he has to eat the finger and figure out, you know, where things have gone. So that's kind of how Tony's life works. Because of his ability, he only eats beets, because for some reason beets are the only food that don't give him these psychic visions. I already passed up his partner, who was on a cover before. Another really fun character. He, I don't want to tell you too much about him if you haven't already read the series. A lot of fun stuff happens in this. There's some really interesting characters. There's some secret things going on in the background we're trying to learn about as the series keeps going. Each trade you buy, it's like there's one thing that got solved from the last one, and then there's like 3 more things that have opened up that you're like, I need to read the next one now, and it's really cool. A lot of interesting characters with different abilities. Actually, both of these 2 other characters on here have other type of food-ish type abilities, and they're both very strange. Other than that, there's a lot of odd things that start happening in the series. Like, eventually there's going to be a series of like alien characters that circle the globe, and they're trying to figure out what happens. And honestly, where I am in Volume 8, that is still not fully addressed yet of what happened. And that happens in Chew. There's a lot of side tangent things that start popping up. It's really cool, it's really fun, and even if you don't get the full answers in those mini stories, it's still really fun because the series is just hilarious. Aside from it just being funny, it's just a really fun ride. It's like an action story at the same time, so aside from being really funny, it's just really enjoyable, and you feel like it wasn't just a comedy, and you need to learn more about the series. Like, you're not done yet. This is another interesting trade because we learn about another power, I guess you could say, that Tony has that comes from the ability he already has, where he gets visions of the past about the food he eats, and it's pretty interesting. There's a lot of really smart things that start happening in this series, and without me spoiling the series for you, which I'm not even sure how I could really spoil it at this point because I'm not finished with it and there's so many tangents that have been opened up. The series, all I can really say is I definitely recommend it. I was reading this from a friend of mine. He had volumes 1 through 4, and since he's reading so many comics at the same time, he had to put Chew on hold, and obviously then at that point I couldn't read it. Since then, like a year or so later, I kind of gave up, bought 1 through 4 so I could buy the rest and keep reading. I had to reread the others at that point because it had been too long, and there's really so much that happens in each trade that you need to reread them. So, well, you don't have to reread them between each trade buy, but I'm saying you would have to reread them in my case because there's a lot that happens for how little is really in here. So, that's basically what happened. I ended up buying the rest of them, and it's amazing. It is one of the, I think, 3 series that I am up to date on trade-wise and I'm buying. And fun fact, each one of them is published by Image. If you're going to buy any comic that you think you're interested in, best bet it's from Image. It's probably really good. But Chew in particular, I would highly recommend to somebody. This is a great comic to start reading if you're just getting into comics. It's easy to read. I mean that in the sense that they don't really try anything really kooky with panel layouts or anything. It's really simple to follow. There's nothing where you're going to get really confused in. The art is just awesome. I haven't even said anything about that. Rob Gulleroy is awesome at art. He gets an awesome way of illustrating people, and you're getting enough of that from the covers. I don't really want to flip through here in case I hit a page that I was like, oh shoot, shouldn't have shown that. But he does a great way at stylizing people. He's just an amazing comic artist. I wish I could draw more like this guy. And the colors in this book are also just fantastic. It's like there's so much going into this comic. It's like there's no way it could have actually been published on its serial schedule. It's crazy. The stories in each issue are just really interesting. There's something new brought up in each one. It's like every time you finish an issue, you're like, alright, this next one's finally going to show me what I've been wanting for so long. It might give you a hint at that, but then it opens up more things that you're like, I need to read more of this book! And it's awesome. I keep flipping through pages in here like going, I remember this, I remember this, and it just makes me want to read the whole thing again, and it's not even done yet. There's not a lot of comics that can really do that, and that's kind of a shame. So I would definitely recommend somebody read Chew if you're trying to get into comics and you like action, comedy kind of things, or you're just like, hey, you know what, I'm watching these comic review videos and I have $10 that I don't know what to do with. I'm going to throw it at Chew Volume 1. Good idea. You're going to be stuck buying them, unfortunately, after that, though. So that $10 is going to turn into a who knows how much more, you know, I'm not sure where it turns into $12.99 instead of $9.99. But just to let you know where that is. Oh, it's actually after the first trade. So the second trade is going to be the first one that's $12.99, and up through Volume 8, where I am right now, that has not changed. So that's really not that big of a deal. Really, really awesome series. If you're interested in reading any new comics, definitely pick up Chew. I'm really excited for the next trade to come out. I obviously couldn't wait until the series was done to make this video, so I hope I can at least get some people into reading Chew, because it is one of my favorite comics that I own, and it is still ongoing, which is great. So, comment, subscribe, like the video, all that fun stuff, and I will see you guys in the next comic review video.